right. Um,
My bad for being late.
yeah, that's fine. It just kind of started. It was my overlay. Where did it go? There it is. What's up, Hakeem?
Was Gucci Mark doing?
Well, I'm getting this podcast started. That's
When or did you start streaming it?
yeah. Just start streaming right now.
Okay. So I said, let me go ahead.
Just stop the music for now. Hey, everybody! Long time no see. Um, we're back. We're back in this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's me, 9C Salt, with my boy
And see
here.
so
Yeah, with my boy here, Hakeem.
Gucci.
And right now we're on episode 3 of the podcast, Unfinished Business, New Year. So, merry belated Christmas to anyone watching right now or will watch this. Happy belated New Year. 2020 is off to a start. Um, but before we get into that, I wanna I guess start with our the first topic, which is like unfinished business, as I put it, or like stuff we didn't get to talk about before I went out for vacation and everything like that. So to start off, we just let people know of our very quick review of Rise of Skywalker, and we're gonna start do that quickly by just giving our ratings for it out of 10. Ooh. And for
Out
me,
of 10.
yeah,
Wait a
out of
minute.
10. Huh?
Do you think we should start with a different one?
Oh, before we get
Instead
into
of,
like, before we start to go over like stuff like that.
before the Rise of Skywalker one. Can we save that one for later?
You know what? Sure, why not? Because it is kind of like a lot of things to go over,
Mm.
I guess.
Plus, I know what's it called. I told Kenny I would tell him what I thought about it, and I still haven't yet. So I guess when he shows up,
Oh, of course, of course. Then yeah, that's fine. We could start off with other something else. Let's see, let's see. We could start off with the game awards.
Game Award.
The game awards that happened last month. Or did we talk about that?
I wasn't around if we did. If
I don't think
we
we
did, I
did.
wasn't around.
I know we did it together. We did together,
It's not on the podcast.
but not on podcast.
All
It's
right,
not. It's not like something
but
that'll take long. It's
all
literally
right,
just me.
but
Just I just thought it was okay.
I have similar thoughts. I was looking through something that I was waiting for. I was very patiently waiting for Fallen Order to get called up for one of the categories, but to
It
my
didn't.
dismay, it turns out that they weren't even in the Game Awards because they didn't submit to be in it to be considered into the nominations. So they didn't even compete in the Game Awards, which was why I was so shocked. I was like, you know what? I feel like they should have gotten at least one award. So I looked up afterwards. It was like, yeah, they chose to not participate in the Game Awards. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's interesting. Uh, Shoot. I wonder why why that is. I understand if it's like it came out kind of late
Mm,
into like the year, so they're probably gonna leave it for like next year.
possibly, yeah.
So that's
I
like
could see that.
the most like I want to say realistic and I guess positive way to look at it.
Hmm. No, yeah, I don't think it's because they thought it would be bad. I just thought that they thought that they released it too late for it to get its proper recognition,
True, but the same could be said for
like you
like
said.
Yeah, but the same could be said about like Death Stranding, I guess. Maybe.
Which yeah, and they pulled up because they released like a week earlier,
Pretty
pretty much,
much.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But you
And
know,
I
it's
guess
like
they're a little. I guess Kojima was a little bit more confident about it.
yeah, well, look what happened, to be honest. I mean, they
Hmm.
won an award, like one or two, I think.
Hmm.
But the game got way too many mixed reviews, and a lot more people didn't really, are a lot more explicitly not a big fan of this game than any other game that he had made.
Hmm.
As far as I've noticed, I've never gotten the chance to play it. Honestly, even though I'm a big fan of like Kojima's like stuff, I'm probably
Hmm.
gonna wait for like a sale or something. Like I'm in no rush like for the game. Um, but yeah, I feel like if Kojima, like, okay. Here's my problem with the game. That I feel like is a little bit more obvious now that Kojima's doing his own thing with his own, without Konami beating on his fucking dick about it. But
Yeah.
he's a guy who likes to be like extra creative with his stuff, with his stories and whatever, right?
Hmm.
Because he kind of wants to be, because he feels like more like a movie director who does a good job at directing games, right?
Hmm.
But now that he doesn't have like Konami being like strict about certain things and how he does his stuff, he's kind of opening himself up more for more experimental things. And as much as I like that, I think it's great. He still needs to keep in mind that he is making a video game, and
Hmm.
it has to still be a video game, not like
Cinematic
not like
playthrough.
super suit cinematic and stuff. I mean
Honestly. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
like the Metal Gear games have always been like cinematic on their own, but at least the gameplay itself was like video game and not and like and what made sense for like an action game like it. You shoot, you sneak, you be clever about shit. You that's Metal Gear. Death Stranding, as far as I've seen, as much as I know the gameplay is a lot more fun based on like what Bumba and whoever else played the game said. I do recognize that people won't fuck with it because you are like a lot of the gameplay is you delivering shit,
Mm.
and a lot of people don't really fucks with that.
I feel like because this isn't a Metal Gear game, what you were saying about the whole action sequence,
Yeah,
it kind of brings up a good point about he's changing the formula of what it means to be an action game a little, because action games have kind of fallen into this monotonous category a little bit nowadays, at least with the whole just like taking down mobs and things like that,
yeah,
just like running, shooting, hiding, stuff like that. They have become a little bit synonymous with the typical action game. So I guess this game, even though it plays differently, it's still, I can consider it an action game, just a different type of action. So it's kind of redefining what it means to be an action game. So that's not locked into
right.
one set category of things. So that I appreciate about it.
Of course, and I appreciate it too. I just like it's just something for him to keep in mind that now that he's like mostly on his own with more creative freedom, he's gonna have to expect that some people won't actually like really fucks with like certain decisions he makes.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is out. It did its thing. It's not like he's gonna stop making games. Like what he's been alive for like 50 something years at this point. Been in the game industry since like the 80s, just like a lot of all of these other game devs, especially in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 60. nothing's gonna really change much about it. He's just going hard on it. I just, yeah. But other than
Yeah,
that, Game Awards it did its thing. Shout out to Sekiro for winning Game of the Year. Shout out to Smash for winning Best
Sekiro got
Fighting
Game of
Game.
the Year.
Yeah,
I actually missed that part.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
lie, I
surprised
forgot.
by that.
I
I'm not.
kind of, I kind of forgotten about Sekiro a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it was.
not surprised at all. So if Sekiro could get Game of the Year, Fallen Order could have definitely gotten Game of the Year
It definitely could have, but it wasn't up there. In
because
between,
they're
like,
very similar.
yeah, but if you look at the choices, if it was really just between either Death Stranding or Sekiro. Like those are like
Yeah.
the more obvious choices. I mean, Smash is up there.
Smash,
People,
Smash is probably not ever going to win Game of the Year like that.
yeah, it really wasn't, but a lot of people wanted it to. But
I don't think it should.
it got in best fighting game of the year.
Yeah,
So
best fighting game is perfectly fine, but best overall game, Smash will never be.
yeah,
It just doesn't have the qualifications. Like it is exactly that. It's a button mashing beat 'em up with strategy, and I
yeah.
don't think a game like that should ever win Game of the Year.
Like the day a fighting game in general wins game of the year is the year that some new era is gonna open up for the gaming industry.
Ooh, a trash era. Or should I say a Smash era?
Yeah, this Smash era.
Mm,
Yeah. Ah, shit. Hold on. Let me connect my, I guess, USB to my headset so that I can charge a little bit.
mm.
All right. Um, testing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. That's what's up. So
Okay,
that's
no, but no.
so that's that. That's the first part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see what else we got. I guess we could like look back on like 2019 in general at this point.
All right,
While we're on this topic
let's
of like
see.
unfinished business,
2019. Hmm.
it's kind of shitty.
Whew, that was a different year, man. Among among the very, very, very fervent advocation of the LGBTQ community.
It's been a very uh,
Whew,
uh
aggressive negotiation.
it's been a large year for like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like climate change, impeachment, all those things. Like the first half was kind of like chill. It was like business as usual, nothing like eventful, super eventful outside of like a few things. But it wasn't until like started sometime during the summer
Mm-hmm.
and into like September that things started going like wild with like shit like the Hong Kong protests, like climate change with with that Thunder Grunberg girl leading the charge and basically becoming like a controversial figure in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like and then December, man, fucking Juice World dying all of a sudden, like out of nowhere because of like he's trying to hide some fucking pills, but he decided to ingest them to hide them.
Mm-hmm.
And now like, damn, bro. And now we're heading to 2020 on a bad note, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But now with all this like airstrikes on that Iran airport that killed that
Speaking of which,
that general.
yeah, man, that airstrike was claiming to be a preemptive strike. I don't know how true that is because the government's been very finicky about how to get that information out when they do quote unquote preemptive strikes. So I can't speak to how much that's true. It could be, it could not be. But what I do know is that the terms of the presidential office change in times of war. So I do know that that can be an incentive to start a war for a certain president that's looking to hold on to their position.
Definitely. And that kind of makes me scared a little bit for the future. Oh, what's up, Kenny?
Mhm. Ah, Mr.
Hello.
Cancel Culture, welcome.
Cancel culture, Kenny.
What's up, guys? What are we talking about? Sorry for
You're
being
late.
late. I was in the middle of the
Yeah,
game. I was in the
yeah.
middle of the
You was in
game.
the game. What game? League?
Hey, look, man.
Hey,
I'm
I'll
gonna
give you
tell. I'm
my
gonna tell y'all
special
like I
guest.
told
Oh,
my
oh
mom.
shit, zero.
Can I
Mm,
can I
I'm gonna
special
tell
guest?
y'all like I told my mom. You can't pause online games.
crazy.
That's wild. What's up,
You mind if I
zero?
special guest this episode? Man, we just had some fun on
Sub
Borderlands.
Zero.
Got them drops. What's
Of,
poppin',
of
yo?
course. What's up? Yeah, you can special guest here, zero. We were just like starting off the podcast was like
Yep,
a
we were
good,
talking about we were talking about the missile strikes
yeah.
Oh, in
and
Iran?
how yeah, so basically what I was just saying was the whole propaganda about the missile strikes being preemptive. I'm not saying how true or not that is, given
Oh
that
no, it
we've
was
been known
bullshit.
to say things in the past about that. However, what I do know is that the terms of a presidential office change in times of war, and that can be an incentive for a president looking to stay in office.
One thing about the missile strikes, right? It's not even like it's not even necessarily the motive, but it's just like the actual actions behind it. Like when you think about it, right? They killed a top general, like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
basically on his own, kind of on his own territory and on his own territory.
Yep.
Like that's so disrespectful. Like
Like like you
Yeah.
I
can't
mean, like,
you can't do that and expect not to start a
not
war. So the
yeah,
intention was clear.
like
You're not
I,
just big dicking on people.
yeah, I actually want to know what they thought would happen. Like I actually want to know. So now
Cause
let's say like we start bombing like American embassies and people
mhm,
start dying. Like who do we put that on exactly, right?
we put that
Who?
on our president. That's the only person to put it on.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
Mm.
Who else made the call?
It's just
Yeah,
like,
he is.
and was that really the only option? Was killing him like that really the only option that we really had to
No
stop these
way.
attacks? And yeah, and I don't
No way.
believe that. So it's like that kind of pushes your point. I don't know. Maybe it was motivated by something else.
I think he was under pressure from this impeachment process, and he wants to stay in office. So he knows the Constitution states that you can't remove a president in times of war.
And if that's the case,
That's what I think. That's just my opinion.
then
That's
that's pretty fucked up, man. You really gonna sign up our troops to die just because you wanna stay in office, bro?
that's
I
really
wouldn't put it
crazy.
past him,
Yo, GOP, this is your boy. This is what you wanted.
especially if he's willing to start a war, pretty much for little reason.
A
I
war
can
that no
definitely.
one wants either. Like people don't understand. Iran is not like Afghanistan. Iran is like has like a bigger GDP than like Australia. Like it's an actual country, like with military, right? Like we're not. This isn't Vietnam. We're not facing
Hmm.
savages or people like that. They have like a military
Yeah, well,
with
Yeah,
it's funny that
technology.
you
they're a
mentioned
legitimate
Vietnam
threat.
War. It's funny that you
They're a
mentioned.
legitimate threat. They may not be as big a threat as us, but they're still a legitimate threat.
Threat, right? Like
It's kind of funny that you mentioned the
like
Vietnam
like you
War.
were saying. Oh, sorry, Marvin. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that it's funny that you mentioned Vietnam, considering that we did lose to them.
it's
Yeah.
like it's like we're not going over there and clapping. Like
And if that, well, we can, but like we're not doing it for
It's not
free.
really a move.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to be for free.
Not at all.
We gonna be losing some people.
And we all signed up for selective service registration, so we gotta
I
remember
know I fucking
No,
did.
I'm a Quaker. I'm a Quaker. You
that.
don't see me there? Super Quaker Draft Dodger Zero. What's up?
Oh my
Uh,
god. Ah,
Imagine
Super
staying in the
Quaker.
country when that draft starts.
I'm
LOL.
Super
dead.
Quaker
I'll be
Draft
a
Dodger.
Cambodian
Imagine not
nigga.
having a second backup country to run to.
That is crazy, bro.
Couldn't be me.
I'm gonna
Hey,
be right
catch
up
me
on
in
that farm,
Mexico,
bro.
nigga.
all of a
Quick.
sudden,
Rob
when
me
all
in
of a
Nuevo
sudden I'm
Leon.
fully
Come see about
African,
me.
when all of a sudden I'm fully African and I go crazy.
I'm gonna
Bro.
be right on that farm, quaking the moles, bro.
And hey, catch me in Nuevo Leon. Come see about me.
That's crazy.
I guess I really am gonna have to live in DR, huh?
But
Hey, you can
nah,
go back and clap
it's not like a
cheeks.
war to war like how they're making it seem. It's really
Yeah, it's
just
definitely
between
not gonna be a
us
world
It's
war,
up.
but like it's
and
definitely something
Iran,
that we don't.
if anything,
But
possible.
Yeah, like niggas have allies, so it's like as long as I feel like as long as the allies realize that this is just between us, then it won't turn into something
Yeah, of
unnecessary.
and
course. They're not gonna go, like they're not gonna hop in unless we're literally just like we're gonna take all your shit too. Then
Right.
other hold
but then like
up.
another thing that people don't realize is that Iran was like really helping fight ISIS and stuff too. Like that guy,
Yeah.
he was wanting to keep people behind, like destroying ISIS and stuff. And what's
Hmm.
happened with us turning on the Kurds and stuff? Basically, who's watching ISIS now? We're pulling out. The Kurds are getting destroyed by Turkey. This
Mhm.
they just killed the head. They just killed basically. We just basically killed the other head guy of Iran, who was also like fighting against ISIS. Who's fighting against ISIS now? Who's watching them now? You think they're about to keep niggas there to watch over ISIS instead of like repositioning them to get back at us? No, hell no, they're not about to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah,
I don't
we're
know, man.
bad fucking like friends. This is why the.
But this is. I'm sorry, my bro.
No, I'm just saying this is really unfortunate.
I was talking to my friend about this earlier. Like I kind of feel like Trump has nothing but yes men around him and people who are scared to tell him he's fucking up, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like because of that, a lot of these decisions are happening. I feel like the people who were originally there, like in his original like cabinet, who were there telling him, bro, you need to chill. You're doing too much. He
He
listened to the
dismissed
other
him.
yes men and got rid of them. And now we're in this type of situation. I don't know. What the fuck do I know though, right?
Yeah, this what niggas wanted, I guess. This is what it all led up to.
The dictatorship. Remove the detractors, and you got a dictatorship
Exactly. We
full
needed
of yes men.
detractors. Even if the detractors are wrong, we still need them.
And like it was just like bad that I don't. No one is agreeing with this decision. Like people are agreeing, but like his motive, what he said was that like, oh, he was planning to attack more diplomats and stuff like that. Okay, maybe that was true, but what's really sending a droid and blowing someone up, the top general, killing him at
Like
an
that's a war
airport,
crime.
really the right thing to do? Was that really all we could do?
Like
Like,
According
what
to
literally
did
him.
what did
better
killing him? What did killing
management.
him actually solve? Though? Did it stop the attacks? Like, were the attacks stopped now because he's dead? That's what I'm really curious about, right? Will the
Mm.
attacks now stop because he's gone, or will this just motivate them further? Because if this motivates them
That's what it
to
seems like.
carry on the attacks further, then
Yeah, because if the attacks were already in plan, odds are he wasn't the only one that knew about it, and
yeah,
he
that
wasn't
knew
the
about
only
it,
one
right?
that wanted it.
And they already appointed like someone to like take his position, apparently, right?
Yeah,
One of his close friends. So
so like
I don't know.
unless you're gonna take out everybody in line, you have to have a better plan.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like a very reasonable thing. I mean, not reasonable, realistic thing to do either. So, uh,
Mm.
you got pretty limited options here. So, uh,
I feel like I feel like people know what they're doing when they decide
oh shit,
to
sorry.
terrorist attack America, and that's a huge big ball play if you're trying to like hit up America. And so I feel like as the bigger person, you probably don't need to make a preemptive strike. Honestly, like because niggas know the weight of attacking America. It's not a small feat.
That and like so the embassy was attacked, right? And apparently it was backed up by Iranian
Yeah, where they
it was
were
backed up by
holding them
Iran,
in
right?
there,
Yeah, it was backed up
setting them
by
on
Iran. It was
fire.
sponsored by Iran. The militia who
Hmm.
attacked the embassy was sponsored by Iran. But
Yeah.
apparently the embassy they attacked the embassy because we bombed several facilities a week prior.
Yep.
And
It
I'm
was
not really
retaliation.
sure why we bombed those places exactly. Let me see if I can look it up. I'm not actually sure why we bombed those places. Bombs, five.
Yeah, these are some dark times.
But we do know that the people left the embassy on Wednesday, so they didn't like run up in there and start killing folks.
Yeah, and apparently now they're saying everyone just they're telling everyone to leave. They're telling everyone to immediately evacuate. Everyone, business people from America, everybody. Like I don't know. Do you think this will help him win re-election?
Win re-election? No, I hope. No,
I I think he
I
sealed
think
his
that
fate
I think that it'll keep him in office because we'll be at wartime.
pretty much. But by the time that's
I
over,
don't think he trusts himself to win the election, so he's doing this instead.
I'll
But
say
enough.
this,
Mhm.
um, in terms of what's going on. If things get dicey in terms of a war with them, I really think that like aside from what we personally would think, I really think this would probably wake up the random Trump supporter who just follows the nigga blindly.
Right.
Because I mean, at that point, you'd actually have to be able for him not to see like
But the
the
thing
ill effects of what's going on.
But the thing about Trump supporters, right? It's not even about being Trump supporters anymore. It's about being right. Like, it's basically a war. Like, it's basically a war in that country. It's not about like, oh, Trump is the best candidate anymore. It's about like, oh, I took this side. I'm about to stand with this side till till we go down, right? That's really how they view it. Like, they don't care about logic. People don't right and left don't care about logic anymore. It's about being right. That's but that's a huge problem when like you can't take a step back and look at why you're doing what you're doing or like the
Right.
flaws of what you're doing. You're just about being right. Like nothing's gonna ever get done. So that's
Mhm.
why like Trump has like one of the most dedicated, loyal fan bases ever because they've been rallied against so much that they're not going to back down for anyone. Trump can do anything. He'll probably always still have us like 1/3 of America backing him.
Mm.
yeah,
It's
the
it's,
one
it's
third of
sad.
that.
Yeah.
It's sad because those one third of America really being bad influences and are just kind of like being dicks about this whole thing. Like, yo, I get it, you like him, but I
One
think
third backing him, and the other, and another third looking too stupid to take seriously.
Like I'm just saying, like eventually you have to admit that this man is able to take L's. Otherwise, what's the actual point of any?
Mm.
But it's like they've been pushed into a corner, right? Because like for a while, for the last like 4 years, Trump supporters have been like, oh, if you're a Trump supporter, you basically get a meat on by like a lot of people, right? So
Right.
basically, they take I don't know, they
Yeah, you kind of right. You kind of right.
their pride. There's pride in being a Trump supporter at this point, and I don't ever see like people
Yeah.
letting that. I don't see that letting them go. Like they're gonna back him no matter what. You Trump kills 1,000 kids. Kids should have fucking moved, bro. That's just my mean. That's just what it is, right? That is really what it is. So,
Defend that nigga till the day he dies. The
yeah,
young one.
they're gonna
The
send him
women
to
and
you.
children
I'll
too.
say this. I find it funny that like some situations were are like happen purely because of the ways our law set up, but based on the fact that niggas are just like, no, our values should never change. Niggas should change around them. I'm just like, bro, they're like, for example, like the gun shit. I'm sorry, but if we don't change some gun laws and like change some mental health laws, nigga,
I don't know, man.
like it's gonna basically it's like we want school shootings or other shit like that to happen, considering we're not taking the necessary steps to like make sure it's impossible.
But like the craziest part about all of this, right, is that a big part of Trump's platform was like pulling out of the fucking Middle East.
Yup. Nigga just
A
went
huge,
hard as fuck
uh,
into the Middle East.
yeah, we really did. So
Nigga does
I
not know how to
really
pull
don't
out.
know.
That's like the fake before you balls deep.
yeah,
It's like really backwards, bro. Like this and like the letting the Kurds get fucking murked out. This every a lot of things aren't making sense. They really aren't. So I'm curious about what's really happening because a lot of things just are not adding up.
The way I'm hearing it, it's starting to feel like mismanagement in the worst possible way, in the most horrific way possible. Now, that might not be totally accurate, I'm willing to admit, but it's really feeling like that, and we gotta have to start getting a handle on what's going on pretty soon before
Mhm.
any consequences start piling up.
Bro, 2020 might be the last year of the human species, bro. That shit might be crazy.
Stop.
Oh man, we always talk about climate change and global warming gonna fuck us up eventually. But I don't know, man. That nuclear option is always there. Oh, hold on.
It really is. It really is always
I'm
there.
just saying, like actual problems we should be focusing on instead of actually just killing random
Just
like
killing
government
people,
officials
bro. Like I don't.
and killing
But the
random
thing
government
about
officials
like
for
the thing about war is that so many innocent people are going to fucking die, bro.
yeah.
We can't do drone every time. Every time we do a drone strike, we hit like four innocent people, bro. That's just that's it's
Like
not
bro,
funny, but it's insane.
like
Like
I know because like I understand exactly what you mean because I'm just like unless like I don't think people will see it as such until like unfortunately like the war comes to the United States, but at the same time that will never happen.
yeah, like
So it's just like
I don't know. It's
I
just
don't
like what. I don't want war. I don't want war. I don't
know.
think
No,
war is
and
ever
neither do I.
really. I don't. War is. I don't think it's ever the right solution. But
No, because like literally it's the same junk every time. People slap each other for a bunch of time, all this back and forth propaganda, and then somebody's smart enough to be like, "Hey, let's sit down and talk about this." When really that should have been the first step.
it really should have been the first step.
So I don't know.
Like the 20. I think it was 2015 that Obama signed Iran like nuclear deal. Correct. I think so. I think that was like one of the last things he did before he left office, and like people like really praised that as like make even Republicans praised that as like they didn't really like it, but it was making progress right towards
Mm,
Iran, like a superpower in the Middle East.
mm.
But like I don't know things in 4 years, things have just completely been undone, and it's kind of fucking amazing.
And it actually just devolved into just uh Jesus. It's just I don't know. I just oof.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry for talking so much. I apologize.
Uh, Here, I'll give
Good,
me a
good, good.
second. Something unexpected is happening.
But
What was the next topic?
you okay? So what do you think about this draft issue? Even though I know it is probably not like going to get to the point where we will
The
get
Super
drafted.
Quaker Brother Zero, bro. What's going on?
Uh,
What's the draft?
what about you, Keith? What do you think about this?
About what?
The drafting.
Drafting? Oh, the selective service?
Yeah,
I'll say, catch me in Nuevo Leon, nigga.
Yeah, what's the draft? I don't understand. People
Yeah,
are capping
Quaker,
up. People are
nigga.
for real capping the whole
Half of
draft
what?
thing. The whole draft thing. Well, like
Have people
I
really been?
resort.
Have people really been saying that there's going to be a draft?
Yeah, I don't.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
not gonna
those the
happen, bro.
people. It's the same people who believe that World War III is happening.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
not
just gonna
gonna
say
happen.
there's
What
not
you
enough
mean?
motivation
I'm gonna be real. I don't think there's
other
ever going to
of
be like
interest.
another World War. I
Yeah,
don't think that's ever happening
like I
again.
said, like I don't think there's
Niggas'
enough. Like the
technology is
people
too
of
advanced to
interest,
not destroy each other.
Yeah,
the
we
people of interest right now don't have a reason to hop in. Like
the
they don't
moment
have
that
like
like
an actual reason to just start scrapping niggas.
and like most of the
That's their
big
people they're
countries are kind
losing.
of like
So
most
yeah,
of the
they're just
big
looking.
countries are kind of like interdependent really on each other. Like we kind of all need each other. Like China, Russia, like we do really all need each other for certain things.
Yeah.
Now, like niggas like Korea and shit, they have nothing to lose. That's how you.
Oh, North Korea.
Yeah, that's why you got to worry about. They have nothing to lose.
At this
He was
point,
like,
yeah.
I'll send the whole country at you. It's
he
like,
was like, my people already starving. What's the death? That's not funny, but what's actual death?
yeah.
That is kind of like the
You ain't lying.
unfortunate reality, isn't it?
You ain't
Wait,
lying. I'm
what's
just
that?
saying.
Oh man. Okay. Moving away from that now. Apologies for that. People needing my help. Let's see. I guess at this point, like, we can move on to something a little bit more positive. But talk about what are our plans now that 2020 has started.
I don't know.
Um, I don't know. I think. Oh, well, I do know. My plans as of right now, myself, is to find myself in more social situations. Because
Right, I'm trying to
even though
make my own.
I dislike public outings with others. Because I just don't like people in general that I don't know.
I've actually been working on my
Um,
new own pasta brand, Chef Boyard Quentin.
Bet.
Um,
mm,
I'm trying to develop it a bit. See where I want to go, take it. Might be a little future endeavor I'm getting into.
Okay.
You
crispy.
know,
Uh huh. How about you,
Mhm.
Hakeem?
What? My plans
Yeah.
for 2020?
Yep.
Woo! Woo!
The Ric
Woo!
Flair.
I mean, I know you got the whole big boy plans for that esports joint.
Mm-hmm. So all right, so here's the plans right here, right? So as of this moment, a plan
Let's see
is to
that.
get as many bags as I can
okay.
so that I can fund my trip to move to Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Yeah, my
Los
boy.
Angeles is like super expensive, ain't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
Yeah,
is.
but there's places
but
where it's affordable.
yeah, there are places where it's affordable.
It's bummy as shit though.
Not really. I
Actually,
mean,
no.
there are nice places. You just gotta
Oh
get
really?
lucky
Oh,
a
you
little
just
bit.
gotta
Yeah,
get
yeah,
lucky. Oh, I see, I
yeah.
see. Personally, I'm more like a Northern California guy because I like being in the northern part of places. You know.
And as it so
New York.
happens, my plans also correlate with another person in this chat's plans. So why don't you tell me what your plans are?
Hell yes, yeah. So I mean, I just want to change of scenery for this new year, so I can put myself in unfamiliar spots, so I may be able to either surprise myself by just working and networking in a different way, or just the new environment will help me work through what I'm trying to get through right now.
Right, right. I like it. I
Uh,
dig it.
Big
yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like your plans. This is good plans for 2020.
yes, sir.
Also, E3. That's what I said.
E3.
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 Y'all excited about anything from E3? Anything? Any new
Ghost
games
of
coming
Tsushima.
up?
I
Ghost of
ain't
Ghost
seen
of
no new
Tsushima.
Tsushima.
games coming out.
And now hold
Literally
on
got.
wait,
Yeah.
wait. Before we talk about E3, we can't just skip over me. I asked the
But yeah. What
question.
is
Oh,
your
go ahead.
plan,
Oh
man?
wait, what are your big plans, Mark?
My
Yeah.
big plans, my big plans. I'm trying to get an internship,
Sir.
bro. I'm trying to work in the radio.
Ooh.
I don't know. Some
Okay.
reason I want
Hey,
Okay.
this want to do the podcasting. It has inspired me to try to work in the radio station in some way. Now
Okay.
I've been chilling and I haven't really done much of anything, but that is my plan. Especially now
okay.
that I'm practically graduating.
Hmm.
And let's see what else. Go outside more as soon as I have a job that funds me, so that can be viable. Let's see what else we
Hmm.
got, and try to date.
Okay.
DJ Marvin.
And DJ Marvin in the morning. Hey everybody, it's me, DJ Marvin. Listen, I'm gonna talk shit as usual, just like you.
Just say, hey, you rapper? Hey, freestyle one time. Six.
Yes, sir.
You not Slay?
Hey, you a rapper, right? You want to freestyle? You got a freestyle for us? Let's play some beats, bro. I don't give a shit. Don't fuck this up, though. I ain't gonna let you. I'm not gonna let it down.
Damn.
But yeah,
Yeah. That's You have some solid plans.
I got
I
some.
know the E3 my E3 plan to go to E3 is very viable right now. Very
Said
viable.
very viable.
Yeah.
Mm. E3. What time is E3? When is it?
It's like
Um,
right after MomoCon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in June, pretty early in June.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Mm.
Cyberpunk though. Cyberpunk's looking lit. I
Oh
ain't gonna
yeah,
try.
Oh
that
yeah,
Keanu.
it is
Oh
coming out.
yeah,
That's right.
my boy Keanu Reeves. We gonna see the double feature and play his game. Woo.
Huh?
Keanu said,
bro.
2020 is mine.
Keanu.
2020 is the
Run
year
it.
of Keanu Reeves. At least he'll make me feel better about this fucking stupid race.
Rat race.
Our stupid fucking human species.
And
Uh,
Nigga
you're
Keanu.
really be like,
Keanu.
I'm just,
I'm
like,
Mr. Market to get. Oh. Oh, excuse me. Let me calm down on the stream. Never mind.
ah man.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, those are the plans, though. Just
Mm.
hoop a bit, get some money, become more sociable as a person.
Yeah,
Mm.
And,
I'm trying to lose weight too, bro.
yeah, that
I'm
too.
I'm trying to having this fucking man titties, these perky ass man
I
titties,
hate
bro.
this nigga, bro.
He said the
I
first.
hate this
Man,
nigga, bro.
I I'm trying. I'm
I
being
hate him.
serious,
Perky,
bro.
bro.
I
You
hate
have
him,
to
bro.
mess with that, bro.
Yeah, capping. Yeah.
You stop.
hey, you can do it though, Marv. You just
I'm,
gotta hit some. You
Marv.
just gotta hit
I hate you. That's
some chest push-ups, some
I'm
chest
that's the
exercises.
plan. I've been trying to do my push-ups, but you know the
bro.
consistency is
He's
gonna
got
kill me. I'm
perky.
also I oh yeah, that's my other plan. Either like trying to find a place that let me use the pool as exercise because you know swimming
Mm-hmm.
is good cardio.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh,
Works out almost every muscle in the body. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's what my dad. That's the way my dad used to like be like an actual like a built dude before you
I
know
mean,
he
I thought you were
became.
about to say water polo player. I'm like, this man's an athlete.
I bro, imagine my dad was a water polo player. Shit, she would, I would be in
Freaking
a different place in life, low
and
key.
you'd have to be forced to be a grade A swimmer at all times. Otherwise, uh,
Yeah, but yeah, that's the plans. Them's the plans. Let's see what
Oh,
else we
shit.
got on the list. Shit, now that Kenny's here, I guess we could do the our little quick little Rise of Skywalker
oh
late as
Wait, I
Oh,
thought
fuck
we were talking
review.
about.
oh,
oh
Wait, I thought we were talking about the internet.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, you're right. We are gonna talk about the internet. Yeah, we'll talk about how the internet's the most unreliable fucking place on the planet, bro.
in term what term?
In terms of fucking like anything, to be honest.
Wait. How long are we? How long is the stream?
Huh?
Are we about to do? How long are we about to go for?
I mean, we're on like
Until
45.
we finish everything?
We're at the 45
Yes.
minute mark. I mean, we're about to hit. Yeah, we're at 45:51.
No, I mean like how long are you planning to go until we finish everything?
Shit, until we finish talking about like the whole internet bullshit and like one other thing you might have in mind. But yeah.
Alright.
Speaking of which, yeah, the internet, man. As much as I am basically a hermit that lives in the internet space as a lurker, man, people got like shitty advice to be honest.
Wow. So.
Too many like I guess contradicting views.
Hmm.
Too many like things that could work but could also not work and I guess just a lot of people that don't know what they're doing want to act like they do.
Mm-hmm. A lot of cappers.
Yeah, that's
People love to
basically
cap.
that's
that's
All
what
you
basically
really
people
need is a slight bit of information that maybe will sound like it's viable, and people will hop on it. You don't really need a fact check shit, even though fact checking is one of the easiest things to do because of the literally. I find it hilarious that people believe certain things, even though there's like stuff on the internet, like actual scholarly sources that can tell you the exact opposite, and they'll still believe in whatever that the buffoonery they want to.
shout out to the forums. The people love going to forums for their information.
I was like, well, I heard.
Well, you heard what? You heard nothing. Close your ears.
Well, I heard water is actually bad for you. I'm saying, what study showed this? It wasn't a study, it was a Twitter post.
Crazy.
Hmm. Interesting. Was it posted by Bill Nye? If not, ooh. I don't know. I
I
find
mean,
people hilarious in that.
I just think a lot of people don't want like proper information. They just want to be right.
Accessible. Oh yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Or at least right in their own heads.
Right.
I'm guilty of that sometimes. I won't even cap. I'll ignore evidence just so I can push my point.
Papa T came back, baby.
You need to
Papa
stop.
T.
Stop talking
Huh?
about this.
What are you
Keep
talking
this
about?
amigos. Y'all
Ne-
need to stop.
never forget. Never forget.
Like,
Never
I still don't
forgetting.
know what you're talking about. I don't know. What movie was that? Is that episode 10?
You need to stop. Oh my
Nah,
god.
nah, nah, nah. Don't you know that was the Fortnite special? You know, that shit only aired on like the YouTube.
Oh, right,
Was it
right,
the
right.
Fortnite special? I'm sick.
Okay, that's why I didn't see it.
Fortnite special. Fortnite special. That's
I'm mad.
crazy. Did y'all hear about that John Boyega thing? How people were getting mad at him?
Yeah, I
Oh
did.
yeah.
That
Oh,
now
about
that's
him not
now
wanting to
that's
be
a
in a gay
topic we can
relationship?
talk about, bro.
About
Bro.
him not wanting to be in a gay relationship with Poe?
No.
No, just
Basically, right. He was on Instagram.
yeah.
He was making fun of like Raylo, cause like how like they liked each other after, even though like
All they
they
all
were
they
Oh
basically been
yeah.
fighting, bro. They basically have been trying to kill each other.
All of a sudden they kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he was making fun of it. He was like, I forgot. He said something about piping her down. It's not who she kisses. Who kissed the last pipe or some shit. And niggas were really upset.
Let me see. I gotta see this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
just
You know
Google
what?
it.
I still got the I still got the
You
I
have
actually
it?
remember this post.
hold on, hold on.
I gotta
I'll
see this. There's
yeah, hold
no
on.
way.
Yeah,
Hold on.
people were
Post the
getting really
links.
upset with him.
Post the link so we can like whew, I'm gonna find it too. My
I'm
boy.
joining the stream too.
Hold on.
People were
I
really
forgot I
upset with
wasn't
this
in the
man.
stream.
Uh and just put this down here. Let me see if I can find it. Is it through here? No. Hold on. We'll find this. Ah, here it is. The thread that started it all, bro. Star Wars romance.
Uh, wait, that was the thing that he said?
That's the thing I remember that niggas were going crazy about.
Wait, can you paste the link to me?
Oh yeah,
Let me
yeah,
see.
yeah. I got you. I got you. I'll put it in the
Alright.
stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on
I
a
got.
bigger screen. Yeah. Alright, let me
Hold
see.
on. Let me see somewhere in the thread. There's like.
Nah, John Boyega, don't put that much disrespect on Star Wars. It's Disney Star Wars
Hey!
romance, man.
Oh,
Come
yo,
on.
here's my favorite.
Disney Star Wars.
Here's my favorite response to like this whole thing. Hold on. Here's this. Here's this one part of the thread when niggas responding with like, with Finn being desperate and yelling for Rey throughout two of the Star Wars movies. And he responded with, "Well, I didn't write it, but if I did, though, I'd yell for 16 movies." Nigga, dude, a whole clown. Dude's a whole
He
clown.
is clowning out. He said Star Wars is a movie, not a documentary. Spoilers about real romance, right? He didn't even respond to the ones about Finn and Poe.
Oh yeah, that's another thing, man. Oscar Isaac was really wanted Finn and Poe to be like the gayest niggas in the whole movie, in the
Hmm.
whole thing.
That would have been even more
Wait,
for
this is all niggas are getting mad about him, Jimmy?
Oh, I mean,
No, he said no. He said the whole pipe thing too. You probably have to look that up.
Where
oh
is it?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Hold on.
he said I forgot what his post was. He was like, it's not who
Yeah.
gets the kiss, but layers the pipe. And they were like, oh, you're being rude. Yeah,
Daisy, I don't know.
yeah, is he possibly? But I don't.
I don't
Logic.
know.
Ah,
Piping though.
okay. Well, this is from the Insider. This will provide me with like, let's see.
Padme and
Ah,
Anakin
here
had
it is. Yeah.
Padme and Anakin had a better romance than
Yeah, this is the tweet right here. Thanks to like this Twitter. My
Literally
boy
any type
after
of.
my boy after realizing Kylo died so he can date
I'm
Ray.
sorry.
where
I'm
is
gonna
it?
be
Oh, you
real.
posted it.
Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, people gotta understand what's the difference between a bromance and a romance. Y'all need to stop fucking
Hey, tell it to us,
pushing
man.
No,
your fanficky ships on people. That's a reach.
Wait a
penis.
minute.
A de-
Wait, you put I don't see it.
Oh yeah, I didn't post the link yet, but it's on
Okay.
stream here. Like, bro.
Okay. My boy after realizing Kylo died so he can date.
It's not about who she
It's not
kisses, but
about
who eventually lays the pipe. You are a genius.
Ooh, that's crazy. Ooh.
Ooh,
That's true. He's right though.
he's right. Yeah,
You're
he's
right.
right. Mhm.
Mm.
I love that quote.
Yeah, people got so mad over that shit, bro. It was actually so funny.
Like,
Why are
what? I
niggas
mean,
getting
like
mad?
they're
He's just
obviously
spitting
gonna.
facts. Like,
Yeah,
It was the shippers, right? And they were saying
shipping that
oh, they were
niggas.
capping. They were saying some wild shit. They were like, "We accepted you." That was something like, "You were black and we let you into our family."
oh no.
That shit was wild, bro.
Oh, nah, they're
They,
upset.
they, they were like, "We accepted you."
Yeah.
Like that is. What does that even mean? That sounds like I don't know. I don't like the that wording. We accepted you. What does that even mean? What do you mean you accepted him?
You needed us to survive.
That sounds like a type like racist thing to say to him.
Yeah, we accepted you.
Yeah, did you accept him? Like, some people, man, some people be wilding out with their words, bro.
Oh shit, I'll be Rebecca.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, Rise of Skywalker, 7 out of 10. Don't at me if you want me to talk about it, but not here. I don't feel like it. It's kind of past. I feel like people already drove the point home about the movie.
It was booty.
It was
What movie?
booty, or if not, if at best mediocre.
What movie?
It's the Rise of Skywalker. Oh, I mean the Rise of Fortnite. Palpatine's Revenge. Electric Boogaloo.
I guess that's a good segue then.
Yeah, yeah.
Or are we not? Or did you decide you don't want to?
You know, we
Don't
can talk about it.
we can still talk about it. I mean, at this point, I think we all can like are are good and know how to like summarize how we feel about the movie at this point. I'll go first.
Who's
Like,
that?
huh?
Who's that?
Who's that? Oh no,
AD.
that's AD.
AD?
Hey
Good
AD,
AD.
you're late. You're late. Spread them. No, I'm kidding.
Woo! 2019, baby.
2019, baby. Anyways, yeah. My quick review: A Rise of Skywalker. 7 out of 10, as I already said. Why? Well, as a movie itself, it was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. It did its thing. It was fun to watch the fights. I guess I enjoyed seeing like Ray, Finn, and Poe's friendship existing, but ultimately, as a Star Wars movie, it just didn't work out. And you know what? I just blame the fact that they just had two different directors. You know, I mean, I had this conversation with Green already, or like discussion a little bit about that whole two director thing that it could work, and yeah, it can work, but oftentimes it doesn't if you didn't communicate about what you want from the movie and what is needed, which is what happened with like I guess the second movie. And now the third movie they want to retcon everything, which is not a good idea at all. If you're not gonna retcon it in like something else like to the side. And I still don't give a shit about like any of the characters except for Babu Freak. My boy Babu Freak. He's like that one like he's like that one like foreign uncle who's like super chill, but they made
Mm.
him like mad small and like tiny. Like when he said hey hey, like man that spoke to me, bro. That spoke to me. You know, it really touched my heart. But in all seriousness though, even though like Twitter like caused me to admit that hey, the second movie, The Last Jedi, it had some cool things going on. I guess with a little bit more of the spirituality in the Force, which is something that the Jedi have forgotten ever since the whole Clone Wars um, era was going on. Just nothing was executed too well. And in this movie, I would have been a lot happier if this like if Palpatine just wasn't there. To be honest,
What do you mean? He
I
wasn't
don't know.
even in the movie.
All
Sure.
right, but I'll say this. Um, though the movie didn't really perform as much as I thought it should, I still think that a lot of the poor decisions were a direct product of the last movie. I'm just saying, like the last movie did nothing to either help or set up anything. It basically did all. The whole point of the last movie was to refute the first movie. So any plan that the director had for when he was to come back, that he couldn't execute because the dude before him basically I anti hooped on his ass. If that makes any sense. So yeah, I don't know. It just was never meant to be personally. I don't think.
Yeah. They didn't hoop.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll always have like I guess other things Star Wars related, like the Darth Vader comics that I have yet to start, even though I really want to.
Mm.
They're pretty hype. They're really hype,
So
actually.
what do you think, Team, about the Rise of Skywalker?
Oh yeah, we've been waiting for you. This is why I had this topic. I was waiting for you to really share your thoughts with at least with Kenny.
All right. So I have a bit of an unpopular opinion.
All right.
So I'll preface this by saying, in general, I had a good experience watching the movie.
I mean, I didn't say I didn't have a good experience.
I didn't.
So,
I know. I'm just saying.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying. In general, I had a good experience watching the movie. I genuinely enjoyed the movie. Like personally, there were a lot of things in the movie that were good, and they had a lot of potential. For example, there's a. Let me pull this. Let me pull this.
If you
I
want to
wrote
post,
down all my thoughts on the movie.
hey,
I pull up my notes. All right. So basically, yeah. So to tag off of what Kenny was kind of saying before, this is the best that they could have done with a bad situation, and that bad situation being the Last Jedi.
right.
And the people that actively worked on this movie deserve a shout out because I know it was not easy to make something cohesive, or at least a little bit coherent after what that nigga Lion Lonson did. So with that being said, I think that the pacing and like the flowing of the scenes between the movie was extremely sporadic. Obviously, it was an attempt to like bunch in a bunch of underlying threads that were not tied up and trying to like get out as much information as possible.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, they shouldn't have to do that. But I can't really hold them accountable for that because, like, well, actually, I can, and I'll say that they didn't need to put in all of that stuff. I think it was unnecessary trying to go back into Poe's backstory
True.
Yeah, at this
because
point, yeah. Why
yeah,
are
this point in the
yeah,
story it was pretty irrelevant to the overarching story because like they didn't really establish any interest in his backstory. Nobody was really asking about it. Nobody wanted to really know more about Poe. It wasn't hinted at or anything. So I feel like it was just a little bit unnecessary to go back and explore that.
Mm.
yeah, I feel like if they wanted to explore, they could just looked in like the comics. As much as I, that's like a problematic thing to do. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like at that point, if they're gonna mention his backstory, they should be like, wait, why do you know how to do stuff that's pretty shady? Oh, I used to be this and that. It's a story for another time. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but
Kind of like or
yeah,
like in an anthology film like they did with Solo. If he's supposed to be the new like badass pilot, we didn't really learn that much about Han Solo's background. Nobody really cared. They just knew he was who he was.
That's very true.
And so I feel like that was a little bit unnecessary and kind of messed up the pacing when they tried to shove a bunch of plot points because it was just like shoving plot point after plot point after plot point location, just trying to push people on through the story. And
yeah,
another thing that was another thing I think was unnecessary was well to tie into the part that they went back to his planet. The thing about C-3PO's message that he flew to Earth, that whole part shouldn't have really been a thing. Because him not being able to or being prevented from translating Sith language shouldn't have even been in his programming. Because I know Anakin didn't put it there, and I don't really think he's had that much tampering with that people would want to deny him that in that point. So that was just kind of it was
I'll
just
say
weird.
this. I completely agree with what you're saying, even to the point where I was just like, if anything, they should have made that one of his main draws in terms of like he should be able to translate them so we can so we can know what they're doing and decode what they're doing and shit like that. Instead of being like, oh,
Exactly.
it's sacrilegious. Like I'm like, so you're now religious. Okay.
Right. Right. It should have been a feat for him to do that, not a restriction.
Right.
Yeah. And then also to follow into that, there wasn't really any consequence to that because they teased the like the dark C-3PO in the trailer and that he was going to lose all his memories and junk, but then they got it right back. So there was like
Yeah.
it
It
was
was
devoid of
inconsequential.
consequences. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like as far as that part, oh, but that brings up another thing that I did really like before they even went there when they went to the planet the desert planet Pasana. That planet was really clean though. I liked it. Even though it was another desert planet, I liked the squid people. It was it had one of the best scenes in the whole trilogy, to be honest. That scene with Ray and the snake, like when she was healing it, that was one of the best scenes in the whole trilogy. But I think
Mhm.
it came a little bit too late. If that was in the first or second film, that would have been excellent.
Well, I also think that some of her powers that they were introducing came a little too late too. It would have been a nice answer to a lot of questions people had, but
Exactly. Like if that were to like if we showed her having force healing in like movie one or even movie two, that would have been a hint for her to have been like Palpatine's daughter because like he dealt in that as well, and it
mm,
also would have been like her showing some development under her journey in the Force, and that would
mm,
have been good character development. Like instead of all that shit that went down in the Last Jedi with her looking in the mirrors and slicing through rocks, she could have actually like had a
the
little moment.
training.
Yeah, she could have had a little moment of training, and then like she awakened like a latent force power because she was able to
Even
tap into
I I
herself.
think even with the Leia training, they should have done that a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a little
100%.
earlier, a lot earlier, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I feel like that was just kind of. I feel like that was just kind of their way of saying, "Here, she's training. You happy now?" It's kind of tacked on. It wasn't really genuine.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
basically just like too little, too late. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like why does she need to trade now? She's already beat
Yeah.
yeah.
consistently.
Right, she slept everyone in the series so far uncontested. So like, what she need to train for?
The only person she ever quote unquote didn't like basically almost didn't contest was quote unquote Palpatine, but even then they're just using him as some big bad from the past to like garner interest.
Hmm.
I've been thinking
Yeah.
about this. You know what I really would have liked to see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they would have had him like if it worked out like this, like they kept Snoke as like the main villain, but Palpatine was
Hmm.
there in his backstory as supposed to be like some clone vessel, but because it's like some weird shit that happened with the Force, he just gained his own consciousness and
Hmm.
decided, yo, I want this shit. Fuck you. You're from the past. This is my time now. And
That would
he
have been kind of cool.
and pretty much murked out Palpatine.
Yeah, that would have been pretty clean. But like, yeah, so to add on to that, like the whole storyline with Palpatine using Snoke as a puppet, I think that was a really good storyline. I think that was it was very well done. It makes sense with the fact that like he got folded like a fucking paper crane, and we didn't know anything about him. And he was supposed to be this big villain. It solidifies why that was a thing. It's because he was a puppet and he died like a puppet.
But my biggest issue here is the fact that they're trying to say that Snoke wasn't the intended villain to begin with. Like that was quite literally like a write in like, ooh, just kidding, but not really because they weren't anything was set up for Palpatine to have come
It
there.
wasn't. But I'm just saying, like purely from a storytelling standpoint, I think they patched it up well. I think it makes sense, like from a storytelling standpoint. I
I see
know
what you're
damn well
saying.
they had no plan, but from what they did with it, I think that's a good. I think that's a story.
That's fair.
And also, oh yeah, oh yeah, the ray training thing. Too little, too
Yeah, it's a little too
late.
late.
He slapped everybody. Like,
Even the the Leia shit was too little, too late.
hmm
Like she was already that force sensitive. That's bullshit. I'm just saying like it was literally just like the reason why I just like I understand that they can't do any better, right? Like I'm
hmm
not saying that I expected them to super hoop or some other shit, but my thing is just
right.
eventually I was just like it was just the movie in its entirety to me was just a patch up job.
That was all it was
And
ever meant to be.
that was no, but that's the
That's
thing.
what that's what JJ said from day one.
That's the reason why I say it sucks. Even though I can acknowledge that it's not entirely their fault. It's just a patch up job. It sucks that it is a patch up job, but
I'll say
you
something.
know,
I'll say something different about that. But like, I think as if this itself, this movie were like two movies or three movies, even a trilogy, then it has the potential to be so great. There's so many great things about this movie that could stretch over like two or three movies and be really good individually. But
mm,
because they're all together, it doesn't feel like it's paced properly enough to be a good contained story.
mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like it's a good movie. Like I generally do like it. I like everything that's being set up, but just not all at once.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking on that, like the fight between Kylo and well, not on that, but like a tangent, the fight between Kylo and Rey, I didn't really like it like that. I feel like
I think it was the final
Finn
fuck you to
Finn
everyone
got
because
fucking
she's just
washed off the start because he wasn't
I'm
even well, not even between them, but like Finn got washed. Like they've been disrespecting this man from day one. He can't even like respectfully allow her and him to have a 1v1. Nah, he's just got to pull up and then get force pushed away. Like
and then
damn, they can't
also
let him have
I
anything.
think that the whole like oh I'm about to beat her, but then like he gets washed up again. I'm
Mm.
just like that to me was incredibly disrespectful as well.
It was, yeah. It's like he couldn't even well that part because like Leia, I'm pretty sure that was like Leia using the force and dying to distract him to give him a
Yeah.
chance.
But
Well.
even still though, the fact that they added that in to me is just not okay.
Mm. I mean, I'm
Cuz
okay
I'm
with
just
him.
like
I'm
cuz I'm
okay
just
with
like you
him
guys
getting clapped, but
the thing is just like his redemption arc, right? It'd be different if he was hooping in the Force, in the dark side, in terms of like, yeah, I've been doing all this work, I've been beating up Ray and them. They basically
Mm-hmm.
can't contest this type shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be different if it was like that, but instead, it's literally just I keep getting clapped. I killed my master purely because he was just too distracted and thought my hate was shifted towards my the raid, right? I
Mm-hmm.
never went in a single battle, not once, but but somehow I need to be redeemed and realize good is good. I'm just like, bro, you basically just told this nigga, hey, look, I just need to I just need to come back. I just need to stop playing around and actually just be a good guy again, considering like he there was no like motivation for him to stay in the dark side. He wasn't hooping there, he wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything much.
He got bullied back into it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's literally like it's a redemption, of course, but my thing is just like
I don't think
from
it's a
what?
redemption. I think it's bullying.
I mean, it's a quote unquote, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's a redemption, but it's just like it rings so hollow. It's kind of gross.
It does, and the reason, like to add to that, I was gonna say like she was getting watched by him, and then when he did get that forced phone call and got rocked, instead of him getting an honorable death, like knowing that he was wrong, and then like being able to change in death, like kind of like a little bit like Darth Vader, that would have been a nice touch. But no, she Nara Jesus him back to health and denied him of a warrior's death and like another redemption, but now he owes his life to her,
Like
and he got bullied into
it'd be
change.
different if, like after he killed his parents, you see the regret in his eyes and blah 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 blah, and everything
Yeah.
like that. But they don't even allow him to kill Leia. I'm just like, dude, stop. Like it literally became to it came to a point where everything that happened was basically just rung up as um everything that happened was basically just run up as everything that's ever happened in Star Wars is leading up to Rey denying the throne of Palpatine or whatever. I'm just like, bro,
Hmm.
stop.
All the Jedi, all the Sith. Like, no, you don't have to do that. Let it be
Yeah,
its own story.
yeah. That's my other problem with it. They really put an Avengers Endgame shit at the end, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
okay.
the Iron Man shit.
it's trying to
Yeah,
be too important.
He's like, alright, listen,
I
listen.
am all the Sith, and I
I have all the Jedi.
Jedi. I'm like,
Like, okay,
You
listen.
don't
I
have to
know
do that.
it was great Endgame, but Endgame got away with it because like they built it up. They built it up
yeah.
to be to for it to be like
Also,
this
it
big
was really too soon
thing.
to start trying to use
To
quotes
close the
such as yeah,
series.
to close the series. Like
It
no, to
really
close the series like
is.
Endgame.
Oh, like in game, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because like I feel like at this point they have to, if they're going to make more movies, it can't be within any time that's close to this at all.
Mhm.
Because you just can't do it. Like there has to be some sort of like reformed society now, completely reformed. It can't be anything close to this, or else it just feels kind of like empty. Has to be its own like established story with a different timeline now. Because they went ahead and wrapped it up. They basically, like you were saying, they said everything that's happened in Star Wars has led up to this point. All the Sith, all the Jedi. So if all the Sith and all the Jedi become one, there has to be a new infrastructure for you to actually make an interesting story.
And they're missing probably like a plentiful amount of infrastructure for this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not infrastructure, structure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So either it's super far future or it's super far back from here on out, or anthology movies. But you can't make it too close after this, or else it's just gonna be ass.
So okay, can I ask a specific question then?
Yeah.
Hmm? Um, with the Rise of Skywalker, how did you what do you think of how they handled Rose Tico?
She wasn't in it.
She wasn't.
She was?
Yeah,
Where?
she was just doing random shit in the back, but she was here.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember honestly. I don't think I saw her. Like the whole thing between Finn and her didn't get resolved.
Yeah, no, she was in the movie 100%, bro.
She was?
Yeah,
Are you're fucking with me, right?
I'm being so serious.
You're joking.
I'm being so serious.
So the thing between her and Finn just didn't get fleshed out at all then.
No,
I
it
mean,
didn't.
literally, it
The
like,
most fleshed out it's ever been is just that man yelling out her name.
yeah.
Hmm?
Like,
Wait, I didn't even well I didn't see I don't they didn't have anything fleshed out in the Rise of Skywalker,
they
did they?
didn't.
Yeah, because like
Literally,
the
the
last thing
entirety of the
they
build-up was just that man yelling her name for like everything.
oh okay.
Right.
Right!
No, you're talking about yeah.
I
Right!
need her.
No, but like freaking Rose. No, I'm talking about with him. I'm talking about with Rose because
Well, they threw that
how,
away.
you remember how she saved him at the end of
They threw it away, bro.
the Last Jedi and she kissed him and then they
Hmm.
just don't go anywhere with that in episode 9. That's kind of weird.
They threw it away, bro.
Yeah, yeah, they threw that away. Okay.
Mm.
They don't give a shit about that.
Retcon. Oh god, they got retcon. Yeah,
Yo,
it was just
actually, you know what?
sloppy. Like the
Now that
whole
we you brought up Rose, bro, as much as like I didn't like Rose mainly because how they kind of wrote her in, it didn't mean, like make me a big fan of her.
that was
I
all Ryan Johnson. That was his
I
character.
I they did her dirty in Last Jedi. They demoted her to like the
Nah, there
supreme.
is no they. There is no they. It's only Ryan Johnson. He's the only person that commissioned for her to be in the story.
I mean, no. Okay. Let me fix myself. J.J.
Yeah,
Abrams,
ain't you?
J.J. Abrams fucking demoted her to like a supreme side character, no
Oh, okay,
relevance. And
yeah.
then like, and I learned this in like the character books,
Hmm.
bro. Of all people to get a two-page spread, is that random ass blonde dude in the
Ooh,
back who keeps in Rise of Skywalker. You know that dude who mentions like Sith secrets, clones and shit. Always in
ooh.
the back, always talk about some joint. Who
What is he?
always
What are you talking about?
okay? Let me find him. Let me find him.
Uh, I
Rise
gotta see his face to remember him.
his history guy. I forgot the name of the history guy. What was the name of that dude? Uh, family yelling in the back. Damn it, what's the name? I mean, that character didn't even really have a name, did it?
You can probably look at the Rise of Skywalker cast,
I'd have no choice.
full cast,
Let's see.
character.
Let's see. Like the names. Uh, uh,
You're not talking about Admiral Hux, are you?
no, I'm not talking about Admiral Hux. Also, shout out to Admiral Hux. Fucking dies like kind of like nothing.
He got kind of shook off. Like he was supposed to be this big spy that like
Okay,
took a new leaf, and then he just got dropped off because they had to push the plot.
I
Mhm.
think this is the guy. Dominic Monaghan. That's the name of the actor.
All right, so who is this
Ooh,
character?
ooh.
Bless you.
I
Where is he?
think. Wait, hold on again.
You
Hold on.
posted him on the stream?
He's on it on the screen.
Rise of Skywalker. Hey, hey. And a Star Wars character. He was. I picked it. He was this dude right here, behind Rose, in this picture.
Oh, he was talking about Sith secrets.
Yeah, he was no, he didn't
Oh,
really.
this guy.
Yeah, no, okay, look. He was like
See,
some dude who had like random knowledge, but he didn't really have any screen time. But for some reason, the character book, like the official character book that talks about the
Hmm.
backstory of like some of the characters, he
Hmm.
he got 2 pages. He got two whole pages dedicated to him. While Rose only gets like the one. I'm like, bro,
Who
he,
the hell is he?
we don't know
Why
who
does
he
he have
is.
two
I
pages?
don't know his name. I didn't even know that he was a historian. That's mad random. He didn't even do
I
anything
guess.
important other than like comment on things. What
I
is
guess
this?
he's clean.
I, I guess. I mean,
Guess he cleaning
woo.
the room.
I I guess so. Man, forget it. We're like an
There's
hour
another
20.
thing there's another thing about the movie. I died laughing when she grabbed the starship out of the air.
Oh
The
yeah, and she
force,
fucking blew it up
the
with
Star
force.
Killer.
Hey, hey,
That's the
listen.
Kenny. You remember that? When we
Yeah,
were in the theater.
I do.
Wait, Kenny, you remember that?
What?
When the ship started flying away with Chewbacca, and then she grabbed it with the force, and I started
Yeah,
dying
yeah. I basically sat up in my chair. I was like, huh?
laughing. Bro, that was when I was convinced that this was a comedy, because that was some funny shit. Like niggas really just grabbed a ship out of the air with the force, like Star Killer in the Force Unleashed. Like now that is some funny shit right there. I guarantee you, after that point in the movie, I realized that they didn't give a fuck
I,
about force.
I mean, at one hand, is what we get for complaining. Well, it's what the Star Wars fans get for complaining a lot about shit. But on the other hand,
No,
bro,
that's not what we get for complaining. Like,
I
niggas
mean,
should just make a good story that we won't have to complain.
I'm not justifying what they're doing. I'm just saying I'm not surprised they did that because they're probably annoyed as fuck with us for complaining every time. But
Yeah,
what can
that
you
joke
do?
was hilarious. That's when I was just like, you know what? Let me not take this too seriously. It's clearly a comedy.
It's clearly a comedy. It's clearly. Well, but with that, I guess we
Yeah,
can
that's
call it
it.
end here. This has
All
been
right,
like the
gentlemen.
longest one ever to date, gentlemen.
An hour, 23 minutes.
Mhm. Gentlemen, good job, and everybody else in stream. Ba 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 da
All right,
boop.
see you guys next time.
Yep.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
enjoyed listening.